presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Ohio.
A series sweep on the line this afternoon as the Reds face the Pittsburgh Pirates for the final time in the 2017 season. A little Sunday matinee baseball coming up on Fox Sports Ohio. And hi again, everyone. Alongside Chris Welsh, I'm Jim Day. We got the pink tie memo on this day. Reds have won the first two games of this series, and it all starts with pitching, Chris, and indeed they've received good pitching in the series so far.
Well, in the series so far, I mean, can it get any better than what Sal Romano did yesterday? I mean, really, he was all set to go out there and have a complete game shutout. Reds decided to spread the wealth a little bit. Homer Bailey, the first game, threw the ball well. So I really think that the pitching is coming into shape a little bit, but there are some guys, of course, that want to join the parade, and that would be today's starter, Robert Stevenson.
Well, a lot of pitching is about confidence, and he will have some confidence because he's had success against this Pirates club.
Well, he has had success against the Pirates team. He's not gone yet full 6 innings against this ball club, but he really hasn't done that much all year long. What he's done, however, is fall in love with his breaking ball. I don't think he gives his fastball really enough consideration as a really effective pitch, but he sees a lot of swings and misses against the Pirates on that breaking ball. One thing about Stevenson, though, he's averaging more than 6 walks per 9 innings, and you're not going to be long into a ball game when that happens.
He will face veteran Garrett Cole, and over the last 5 starts, it has certainly been up and down.
Well, I mean, when you're the ace of the staff and you've given up 5 runs in 3 of the last 5 games you pitch, you're not showing yourself to be much of an ace. He has finally won a game against the Reds, so now he's like 1-7 against his Reds ball club career-wise. He's been really good on the road, though, so maybe just getting out of Pittsburgh is something that Garrett Cole thrives in. He gets a chance here on the mound at Great American Ballpark today.
Reds hope it sweeps away here from GABP. When we come back, Jeff McCurl has more on that. Reds and Pirates straight ahead on Fox Sports Ohio.
your Tri-State Chevy dealers. And by Skyline Chili. Feeling good, it's Skyline time.
Hey guys, meteorologist Brandon Orr here from Local 12. It's almost a repeat of forecast, just like what we saw yesterday. Temperatures, though, will be climbing throughout the 80s. 84 degrees will be our high temperature, and we're likely going to hit that by the end of the game. Also, something to note, humidity. We're going to have some of it out there, but it's not going to be that downright oppressive, miserable humidity that we had earlier on this summer. So not feeling too bad out there at Great American Ballpark. Enjoy the game here on Fox Sports Ohio.
So hot and humid here at GABP, but the Reds have been hot at GABP as well. 38 and 36 at home, and they've got 3 of their 4 sweeps on the year right here at Great American Ballpark. 4 sweeps on the season. In April, they swept Pittsburgh. That was at Pittsburgh. May, June, and September, sweeps of San Francisco, St. Louis, and Milwaukee here at the ballpark. Most sweeps in a season since 2011 when they had 11. And how about this? Things are starting to turn for this team. They had 6 in the last 3 years combined. And that brings us to our Elk and Elk storyline as the Reds go for their 2nd sweep of the Pirates. Most wins versus the Pirates in a season since 1994. That was the start of Central Division play. Back in 2009, they beat them 13 times. They've already beat them 12 here, so they can tie that today. Back in 14, they had 12, 11 and 15, 12, and 0-2. So the Reds on a roll here at GABP, as I said, 38 and 36. And now, well, yep, they have won 7 games in a row here at the home ballpark, and 7 is heaven. Looking for number 8 behind the pitching today of Rob Stevenson.
Position players at their position on Sundays. Robert Stevenson on the hill, and this guy likes the mound so much. Well, it was tough to get him to leave. Robert's like, all right, great meeting you. Sign the baseball, gotta go to work. The Reds going for their 7th straight victory here at home, and it's been a joy to watch. They're a different ball club when they play here at home, Chris.
Well, they're over 500 at home, and they're severely under 500 on the road. So if they can figure out a way to play more home games, that would certainly make a difference. 6 straight at home, longest streak since 2015. So that's what Brian Price has going for him here today. And a guy on the hill that has pitched very well against his Pirate team so far this year. That's the other thing he's got going for him here on a very beautiful Sunday afternoon.
Pirates trying to avoid being swept here in Cincinnati, and here's how Clint Hurdle will line them up. That guy will lead off, and John Jaso, he'll be in right field. Jordan Luplow batting second. Andrew McCutchen hit a home run here yesterday. He'll bat third, followed by Josh Bell, David Freese, Jordy Mercer at shortstop. Sean Rodriguez getting the call at second base today. Chris Stewart back behind the plate for the first time in this series, and on the mound, right-hander Garrett Cole will bat ninth. Robert Stevenson making his 23rd appearance and 9th start of the season. John Jaso in there. First pitch on the way, high and outside, and we are underway. 82-degree game time temperature here. So it's heated up a bit here on this Sunday afternoon on Fox Sports Ohio. Glad he could join us. Stevenson misses twice against Jaso. Jaso just a .214 hitter, 9 home runs, 32 RBIs. Stevenson needing a strike, gets it.
Well, when you miss with your first 2 fastballs, it's always a nice idea to maybe go with something else. You know, Stevenson is the kind of young man that gets really amped up. Sometimes throwing that breaking ball in the first inning is a better idea.
This is just the 3rd start in the leadoff spot in 2017 for John Jaso. Last season, he made 79 starts for the Pirates. Over his career, 201 career leadoff starts. Big open stance for Jaso. Here comes the 3-1 pitch, fouled out of play, and we've gone full.
The Pirates were hoping to get Starling Marte back to play today. Their normal, one of their right-handed hitting outfielders, but he's still being injured from a slide that he had, head-first slide.
Popped up. Calling for it, who's making his first major league start today, that would be Zach Vinci. And here's the rest of the Reds defensive lineup, brought to you by Ford. Around the outfield, Duvall, Shebler, and Winker. Eugenio Suarez at third. The aforementioned Zach Vinci, first big league start at shortstop. Jeanette back in there at second base. Votto and Barnhart and Stevenson, your battery today. Zach Vinci's been waiting a long time for this day and getting the shot with Zach Cozart getting the day off, and we've seen that a lot. Day game after a night game. Cozart still nursing that quad injury. Count is 1 ball, no strikes to Jordan Luplow. 2-0. Pitch, check swing, and he went 2-1. Says home plate umpire Tom Woodring. Andy Fletcher down at first, Alan Porter at second, crew chief Joe West umpiring third. Two-1. Another check swing, appeal. No, says Andy Fletcher, and the count's 3-1. Stevenson faltered Tuesday in St. Louis after 4 consecutive strong starts in which he went 4-0 and a .238 ERA, but he had a tough time last time out, and he's wild here and walks the second batter of the game.
Well, he's had 8 starts here at the major league level this year, and he has exactly 41 innings pitched. So, you know, you can do the math that he's right at really where the Red starters are as far as number of innings per game when you pitch as a starter. I mean, the Reds are at the bottom of the list. And I think as I was perusing that today, it's kind of interesting because if you look at those teams that are there where their starters throw more innings than all the other teams, those are the teams that are going to the playoffs. All the last place teams are at the bottom of that list. The Reds at the most lower point, and the teams that are going to the playoffs are at the top of that list. So starting pitching is where it's all at. And having your pitchers take you deep into the game is what you're trying to get.
Andrew McCutchen. Reds were bidding for a shutout yesterday, and McCutchen spoiled that with a 9th inning home run off of Kevin Shackelford. And he's been heating up as far as power numbers go. Not only hit safely in 6 straight games, he got 3 homers over that stretch, and has homered 3 times in the last 5 games after going 29 straight games without hitting a long one. A lot of decisions to make in the offseason for this Pirates club, and one of them is with this guy right here. They held a team option. Will they pick it up? We'll find out. Swing and a miss. Chasing upstairs. 1-2.
Now, right now it seems like Robert Stevenson is having a little better chance throwing his off-speed pitches near the strike zone, although that probably was up had McCutchen not been able to take a healthy hack at it.
1-2. There goes the runner from first base, and it's fouled off. So Luplow back to first. And we'll do the 1-2 again. That home run yesterday, the 201st career home run for Andrew McCutchen. That ranks 4th in team history, behind Stargell, Kiner, and Clemente. Pops with 475 career home runs for the Pirates. Good list to join. 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. First strikeout for Stevenson, and
well, a good location against a good hitter right here. He just stays away, trying to pick away at that outside corner. Has a little bit of sink on it, and McCutchen chases one that just a hair off the plate. But a good offering by the Red starter. 2 down in the inning.
The Pirates have certainly seen Stevenson's strikeout game. Back on August 25th, he struck out a career high 11 in a 9-5 Reds win. Went 5 2/3 innings that day. Gave up 2 earned runs and those 11 punchouts.
He had about the best breaking ball that day that I've seen a Red starter have in a long time. In fact, Clint Hurdle commented on it after the game. He says, we've not seen a slider like that all year long. But of course, the challenge for Stevenson is to take that to the next game and the next game after that. And there are some games, you know, you take them out, you warm up in the bullpen, and you've got a great slider, and you go to the game mound, and you're like, well, where did it go? And so you've got to figure out how to survive the first couple of innings until that stuff begins to work for you.
Remember back to that game as well on August 25th. Stevenson struck out the first 6 batters of the game. That is a modern club record to begin a game. And if you look at our Quicken Loans rocket arms, most strikeouts in a game by a Reds rookie this season. Garrett with 12 back in April when he got off to a terrific start, and then Stevenson nearly matched him on the aforementioned August 25th game when he struck out the first 6. August 25th.
Lightning. I mean, it was really something.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of thing that gets you excited about Robert Stevenson when he shows that type of, you know, overpowering stuff.
1-2 pitch to Bell. And Stevenson missing upstairs a lot here to begin the game.
Well, it happens a lot, especially with younger pitchers. You know, that first inning is the most important inning you've got, because you've got to survive through that. You've got to figure out what stuff's working. You got to figure, the little things that you may have been working on in your bullpen sessions. Getting through that inning is the most important part.
Well, this is a big contrast from what we saw yesterday. Sal Romano had 0 3-ball counts yesterday in 8 innings of work. Stevenson already has 3 today. And this is the 4th batter of the game, but he strikes him out and no damage done. Reds coming up. First inning, but a meeting with pitching coach Mac Jenkins. That would be a little pick me up from the head up, from the neck up, as they say. The head up would be a problem. And here's how Brian Price will line them up today. Jesse Winker will lead it off once again. A little different looking lineup today. Eugenio Suarez lifted up to the 2-hole today. Votto, Jeanette batting cleanup. Adam Duvall in left field. Schebler in center, getting his first major league start. Zach Fincy at shortstop batting 7th. And the battery mates Barnhart and Stevenson 8 and 9. On the hill, Garrett Cole finally got that monkey off his back, finally getting his first win against the Reds this season.
Yeah, for a guy that has pitched some really good baseball in the major leagues, it was probably very perplexing for Cole. And his pitching coach, manager Clint Hurdle is the wonder why he can't beat the Reds. He's a guy that has all the stuff. I mean, fastball, good slider, nice changeup. Basically a 5-pitch pitcher, including the 2 different types of fastballs that he throws.
It's the 3rd start versus the Reds in 23 days. You see that a lot in April and September, primarily division games. And you'll see pitchers that will even face a club back-to-back starts many times nowadays with today's major league schedule. Easy play for Josh Bell, out number 1 on Winker. Here's your 4 defensive lineup for the Pirates. Luke Lowe in left, McCutchen back in center. John Jaso getting the start in right. Freese, Mercer, Rodriguez at second base today. Bell at first, and Stewart catching Garrett Cole.
Kind of interesting, really. When we spoke yesterday in that interview with Hunter Green, who, by the way, I really enjoyed that interview. What a very nice and well-spoken young man he is. In a couple of the articles that have been written about Green, he referenced Garrett Cole.
Yeah.
Because Cole,
going to college, right?
Yeah, well, Cole's a first-round draft pick out of high school, and he turned it down. He was drafted by the Yankees and ended up going to UCLA, where he was again a first-round draft pick. And that's where Hunter Green had committed to go to school had he not decided to sign the contract with the Reds.
Yeah, he had mentioned, hey, it worked out for Garrett Cole, and if I didn't sign with the Reds and it went right down to the wire, he was committed to going to UCLA and saying, hey, I'm going to get education at one of the best schools in America. But that is rolling the dice. Down goes Suarez. 2 up, 2 down here for the Reds in the home half of the first.
What Cole looks like he's using today is more that curveball than he is the slider. He's got a power slider that he throws in the upper 80s. But that's a curveball. Second time in 2 batters that he's thrown that to get a strike. First time a weak contact strike to the first baseman by the leadoff hitter Winker, and that time Suarez swings right through it.
And now Votto. Joey just 5 for 23. A .217 batting average in his career versus Cole. And a first pitch strike. Joey on pace to play every game. He has started every game. On pace to play in all 162. It'd be the second time in his career. Did it back in 2013.
You know, I meant to ask Al Oliver about that. He did that one year. Actually, Al Oliver played in 163 games one year. And we never got around. The innings were so fast when he visited the booth. I didn't get a chance to ask him about that. But
most of the innings yesterday were quick.
Yeah.
We played 2:23, 2 hours and 23 minutes for yesterday's game. It was great visiting with Scoop, though. Counts 2-2 to Votto.
You know, I think it's as much, and I've never come close to. I mean, you know, I have no idea what it's like to play every day, even taking days off like most guys do. But what Votto is doing is taking it to a different level. And I think the mental approach has to be probably more important than anything else.
Well, not only has he played every game, you know, I'm down there by the dugout most games. And when the Reds are getting blown out, that's when a lot of times the manager will pull the veterans out, and they have a hard time even getting him out of those games. He might take the last inning off or so, but he doesn't want to take an at bat off, and not every veteran's going to do that. They'll just take it to the house and say, all right, I'm done for today.
Well, I think that he realizes that your major league career has a limited number of trips to the plate and a number of games that you have an opportunity to play in, and he's not going to give up any of those because the raw numbers that he can put up are important. If you take 2 at bats off every once in a while, you're going to be less at bats, less chances for doubles, less chances for bases on balls.
Draws the walk here and continues to dominate in that category. And now Scooter Gennett hitting cleanup today. Scooter, unlike Votto, has some really good numbers against Cole in his career. 11 for 23, 423 clip. As you look at his numbers overall this season, double and a triple. Gennett against Cole. Scooter's hit safely in 10 of his last 13. He's raised his batting average from .285 to where it sits right now at .298. Oh, 1. Got him out in front. It's open for a 3-game sweep here in the final homestand of 2017. Off day tomorrow. Then the Cardinals come to town, followed by the Boston Red Sox. Last home series of the season will be interleague play. You don't see that often. Oh-2 again, swing and a miss. 2 strikeouts in the inning For Garrett Cole, we're scoreless after 1.
T-Mobile, as the season comes to a close, here's some playoff berths have been clinched. First, the Washington Nationals, the NL East chance for the second straight season. The Indians on that fantastic roll. 2 years in a row, they've won the Central. The Dodgers clinched a playoff stop. Magic number for the NL West at 5. And the Astros, the magic number for the ALS, just 1. So some teams are starting to make their way into the playoffs and solidifying who's going to be the home team and what. So, boy, what a run that the Cleveland Indians have been through, though.
And mighty impressive. David Freese, first pitch swinging. Winker calls for it. 1 out for Robert Stevenson here in the second. And the Cubs, another big win yesterday against the Cardinals. And they are now 4 games clear of Milwaukee and 5 of the Cardinals.
Yeah, you know, that was 2 very decisive wins by the Cubs, too. The Cubs have now put on a little bit of a winning streak. I think they got, what, 5 in a row behind them. And it's going to be tougher and tougher for those teams behind to try to climb back into the race, depending on other teams to do the damage to the Cubs.
As far as the wild card goes, Brewers are a half game closer in that regard. 3.5 back of Colorado. St. Louis 4.5 back. Both wild card teams, if it ended today, would come out of the National League West. Arizona, Colorado. Jordy Mercer sends one into the air. Vinci out to chase it, gives way to Duvall. 2 outs. 3 pitches, 2 outs here in the second.
Couldn't be a more opposite event than what happened in the first inning, where it seemed like Robert Stevenson just struggled to get the ball over the plate early. The Pirates, though, continue to come out and swing the bats early, so a couple of easy fly ball outs to start the second.
Now Sean Rodriguez. "29 games with the Pirates this season. He's played 7 different positions in those 29 games. I'd say that's versatility. Went to Atlanta, came back to Pittsburgh. 1-0. Not sure I've ever seen a pitcher rub up the baseball more than Robert Stevenson. It is literally after every pitch.
Well, you know, it could be that the balls are slick, but it's more likely that it's just kind of a nervous habit that you get into. Part of a routine. Nothing wrong with routines.
Ground ball. Suarez. Votto, 7-pitch inning for Robert Stevenson. So Reds will take that routine. November 22nd through the 24th. That would be next weekend. It's presented by Reese's. Catch all the action for as low as $12. For tickets, visit Reds.com. Not a bad deal. See, the Red Sox are having a very good season. A final home series of the 2017 season. Family Day today. A sunny afternoon. Tell you what, this weather that we've had for the home games throughout August and September is unbelievable. Adam Duvall here to lead off against Garrett Cole. Sends the first one into the air. Josh Bell underneath of it. Quick one out for Garrett Cole. And now Schebler will take his first AB. 27 home runs on the season for Schebler, 60 RBIs. Playing center field yet again. Billy Hamilton still on the shelf. Billy did get the splint off. And Brian Price said before today's game that they hope that he resumes baseball activity, at least running. They're going to decide at the least if he could pinch run in games. Hitting might be a question mark, although Brian Price is adamant he still thinks we haven't seen the last of Billy Hamilton this season. Stay tuned on that. Fractured thumb. Bell again. 2 outs. Both these teams seem like they've got somewhere to get to.
You have a lot of first pitch swinging by both teams so far. I think as long as the pitchers continue to throw strikes, you're probably going to see that. Both pitchers have shown an ability to get their breaking ball over. Stevenson has thrown some really good off-speed pitches, sliders, you want to call them that, or cutters, curveballs, his breaking pitch, and 2 different pitches so far for Garrett Cole, but that curveball is the one that's really been effective.
First at bat of the day and the first big league start for Zach Vinci. Looks at the first pitch for a ball. 26 years of age, born in San Diego, California, is Zach Vinci. 37th round pick by the Reds out of Pepperdine back in 2012. So he has gotten here the hard way, and he's done it primarily with defense. Left field. Luplow on the track, and a 7-pitch inning for Garrett Cole. Scoreless through 2. Every device. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live. Plus, get a free subscription to At-Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. Chris Stewart, Garrett Cole, and John Jaso will face Robert Stevenson here in the 3rd inning. Stewart getting the catching duties today. Diaz the day off. Francisco Cervelli still out, the quad injury. Diaz their catcher of the future. Chris Stewart's future would be undetermined. He's certainly at the back end of his career.
Well, just 3 games separate these 2 teams, the Pirates and the Reds. So, you know, with a pretty good rush here at the end of the year, the Reds can find themselves out of last place. Now, to some guys on the ball club, that may not mean anything, but to Brian Price and his coaching staff, it probably means a lot. And I think that's why you're seeing the Reds' everyday lineup playing out here every day, despite the fact the Reds have, you know, some call-ups that they could put in there. Experiment with some young players the way they're experimenting with some young pitchers.
Rio pitch. In there.
Of course, anytime you get to this time of the year, Jim, there's always conversation about, you know, what's fair, what's not fair, about expanding the rosters, how many players should be activated for each game. I mean, if the team wanted to, they could have 40 players on their bench.
Well, where do you fall in that? A lot of people have said, hey, let's, you know, go ahead and have your September call-ups as Stewart draws a walk, but designate 25 to, let's say, 27 players that can only play on that day.
Well, first of all, I think that a lot of small market teams feel that it is in favor of a large market team, because the average cost of having a player appear for a full month meal money, travel, is about $100,000. So if you call up 10 guys, you're talking about $1 million you're spending right there. And big teams can do that without even flinching.
Right.
The Pirates, on the other hand, have been on both sides of it. Some years they hardly call up anybody, and other times they call up a lot of them. And the Reds have been on both sides of it as well. That's part of it. The other part of it is, if you have a large market team that can afford to call up an unlimited number of players and then play matchup by matchup, basically outnumber the other team that they're playing against, by having one pitcher come in to pitch to one batter and next pitcher come in to pitch to the next batter and so on, and never run out of players, it does become an economic issue. And when it all boils down, it's all about economics. And that's where the Players Association are dead against not expanding the rosters.
Well, that's the economic side. On the field side, does it not dilute playoff races? Because teams that are in it and are fighting for a spot might be playing a team that is experimenting with players. And in September, you're not getting the regular shot or the regular games you're getting throughout the season.
Could be, yeah.
Brian Price has talked about that a lot in the past, that he's not a big fan of, and that's one of the reasons he runs out his lineup every day. He wants to give these guys, teams that are in playoff contention, a fair game, let's say.
Well, let's look at yesterday's ball game, though. I mean, he can say that, but at the same time, he used the September call-up and Cody Reed to come in and get the save yesterday. So, it's a double-edged sword. I think the one compromise that might eventually be struck is that you expand the roster slightly, say from 25 men to 28, and then you designate on any given day 28 players that are eligible to play that day.
Right.
But you have to include 5 starters in that. You just can't load up your bullpen.
Garrett Cole's been trying to lay down a bunt. Now the Butcher Boy play. And going back on it is Schebler, and he can't get it. They were playing him very shallow, and they're going to hold up the runner at third base. So the old Butcher Boy works here.
Just goes to show you that you don't have to swing hard to hit the ball a long way. He faked the bunt early on and then just goes up and chases the pitch, just trying to put the ball in play.
Well, Cole likes hitting in this ballpark. You remember against Luis Castillo in a 1-0 victory, his first victory against the Reds. He was the difference in that game. The only run scored off the bat of Garrett Cole.
He little leagued him, in the words of Clint Hurdle, or American Legioned him, which happens a lot, of course, maybe in high school, little league, even American Legion, where the star player is the pitcher. He's the best. He's batting fourth and pitching.
Right. Well, he was dominant on the mound that day too. 7 scoreless in that 1-0 win. All right, trouble brewing here for Stevenson. Second and third, nobody out.
One more follow-up on that expanded roster in September is that it's been estimated that it means about 7,000 service days for players that get called up on that roster. So if you're one of those players, like Zach Vinci, for instance, I mean, you're happy, your family's delighted that you get to call up. You're a big leaguer, you're getting service time, you're getting more money. The Players Association is not about to let that go.
Stevenson gets Jaso here, and that's a big out here in the third.
I'll tell you, the Pirates have some very weak swings at his breaking stuff today. That's a changeup.
And now he'll tangle with Jordan Luplow. Drew a walk his first time up. Want to know the count to the Pirates left fielder. in the air. This won't get the job done. Vincey calling everyone off. 2 outs. Big out. Back-to-back large outs for Stevenson. But an even tougher assignment as Andrew McCutchen will stroll to the plate. Two outs, still runners at second and third. McCutchen hit number 26 here yesterday. And that is his second highest single season total behind the 31 he hit in 2012.
Well, what a pick-me-up it would be for the Reds and Stevenson if he's able to get McCutchen out and get out of this inning completely unscathed. Walk the number 8 hitter, give up a double to the pitcher, and then take care of business when the lineup turns over.
Barnhart. Does he have room? He does. And indeed, Robert Stevenson, second and third, nobody out. No problem. Still scoreless at GABP. Kentucky will win the beautiful new Tundra on display here at GABP. Register for your chance to win at an upcoming game by seeing your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. We like to see the smiles at the ballpark. Again, family day here today. Only one hit in this game. It came from the Pirates. The Reds hoping for better things here in the bottom of the third. It'll be Barnhart, Stevenson, and Winker against Garrett Cole. Won't be long before the Barnhart family will be doing just that. Proud papa is Tucker Barnhart. And he, for one, I know is looking forward to the off season, getting to spend much more time with his son. Although when he's on the road or playing, they've been wearing out that the videos and the texts, getting constant updates. It's a weird kind of year for Reds catchers as far as the birth of children go. As a Rocco, Stewart, Turner, and then Barnhart, all within a small frame of time.
And the Reds had to juggle a little bit their roster because of that. That's when Chad Wallach got his first call up, when they had fraternity list catchers.
And at one time, Barnhart and Turner's projected birth date was the same day. I mean, who would have thunk that before the season? That they would be your two active catchers, and the due date would be the same day. Tucker's been mighty impressive once again. Last 18 appearances, hitting .322 and has hit safely in 7 of his last 10. Average sitting at .271 for the season.
Well, what Cole likes to do against left-handers when he gets a couple of strikes on him is pitch him down and in. He gets that breaking ball down and in, has the hitter swing over the top of it, but he's been unable to get to that spot here against Barnhart.
Left center field, coming on is Luplow and makes the catch. So a hustle play by Luplow and 1 out in the inning.
Well, the Pirates thought that their outfield was going to be solved for a long, long time, and of course that at least until the free agency of Andrew McCutchen. Starling Marte, however, suspended for 80 games this year for violating the drug use, PED drug use policy of the MLB. Gregory Polanco injured, and that gives an opportunity to their left fielder Luplow, who looks like a pretty good player.
Yeah, a few years back, it was flat out scary when you looked at the Pirates outfield and what they thought Polanco was going to become, what Marte was, particularly defensively. I mean, outstanding, but it was flat out scary. Like, man, these guys are going to be really good for a lot of years, and I'm not sure they have that same outlook.
Well, the Pirates thought so much that they decided to wrap them up to long-term deals when they're very, very young. And sometimes they work out, sometimes they backfire on you.
Ooh. Uncle Charlie. Third strikeout for Cole. A reminder to enjoy a cold one. To look forward to Miller time later in today's broadcast, as always brought to you by Miller Lite. That's almost unfair to break off a breaking ball like that to the pitcher.
Well, he's liable to get one in return.
Man.
Especially after hitting a double last inning.
Yeah. But you said yesterday you don't understand why they don't throw more breaking balls to pitchers, because they don't see them very often. And that was a wicked.
I mean, the whole idea is to get off the mound as quickly as you can.
Yep. Winker with the drive into right field and a base hit. First hit for the day for the Reds.
He's got a nice smooth swing. There's no question about that for Jesse Winker. Uses his hands very nice. The bat head dragging behind just a little bit. And you can tell that he likes that pitch down. Although the home run that he hit yesterday was up and in.
What a big home run that was in the 7th inning. It was a scoreless game until Winker blasted a solo home run. The Reds would add another run in the inning. An RBI hit by Jeanette. Held on to win 2-1. Two outs at Eugenio Suarez. Struck out his first time up. Uh-oh, look out. Got him caught off the base, but he gets back.
Boy, Chris Stewart behind the plate is wondering how that tag got missed. He dropped the ball. It looked like he was going to get away from him, and what a little fancy slide there by Jesse Winker.
And the Pirates are not going to challenge it. They held up play for a moment. That's a big league get back to the bag right there. 1-1 pitch.
I would imagine it's every hitter's dream to be batting in front of Joey Votto. I mean, the last thing Garrett Cole wants right here, even though he's had good success against Votto, is Votto coming up if he loses Suarez. Last time he struck out Suarez on a slow breaking ball. We'll see if he comes back here with that same pitch on a 2-2 count.
Long look in. Now the 2-2. Left field. Here comes Luplow again, and he'll get it. The Reds strand a runner. No score through 3 at Great American Ballpark. Fox Sports Ohio is brought to you by your local Ford dealer. Ford, go further. The Red Cross depends on financial donations to be able to provide disaster relief immediately. You can help people affected by Hurricanes Harvey and Irma by visiting redcross.org or texting the word Red Cross to 90999 to make a $10 donation. We've reached the 4th. Josh Bell will lead off for the Pirates. Bell has cooled off of late. 6 hits in his last 39 at bats. But it's an outstanding rookie season as he ranks first in hits amongst rookies in the National League. Doubles, triples, walks, games played. Second in home runs, RBI, extra base hits, and total bases. Switch hitting first baseman. And we've talked about this earlier this year. Came in about 20 pounds lighter this year. And it started with a conversation with Joey Votto last year. They somehow got into the weight discussion, and Votto says you don't need that extra weight to still have power. You've got a good enough swing. Lose the weight. And Bell came out and gave credit, at least the impetus of him losing the weight. It started with that conversation.
Yeah, the only thing Joey Votto likes about weight is the weight on pitches. And hit him very late, right out of the catcher's glove.
I find it always interesting to hear former players like yesterday talking about Joey Votto hitting. When Al Oliver was talking about Votto waiting so long and hitting it late, almost out of the catcher's glove. Seemed to be a whole lot of conversation going on today. A 1 pitch to David Freese.
Well, certainly Robert Stevenson does not want to create the same type of situation that he had last inning, where he walked the leadoff man that gave up a double to the pitcher. Ended up getting out of the inning by throwing some really nice pitches to the top 3 in the lineup. But you wonder how many times you can go to the same well. He did that. If you remember one of the starts that he had against the Milwaukee Brewers in the 4th inning, he loaded the bases against them, and they were loaded with left-handed hitters in that lineup, and then he proceeded to strike out the side to get out of the inning. But besides taking a toll on your arm, it puts gray hair on the head of your manager.
Two pitch. Stevenson's run the count full.
You know, sometimes a pitcher can be effectively wild, where you miss and the hitter's really not sure what to expect up there. It's hard to guess along with you when you're missing your spots by so much. And I think that's been the case so far for Stevenson today.
There goes Bell. Swing and a miss. Throw down to second. Strike him out. Throw him out. Tucker's been so good.
Well, Bell's not a real base stealer, but if you get a fastball, which is a good thing for Barnhart right there, and all he's got to do is throw it in the vicinity of the bag, because Bell is nowhere close.
Two outs. Jordy Mercer. 27 of them now for Tucker Barnhart. Most in all of Major League Baseball, and the most since Jason LaRue back in 2011. Mercer line drive center field, but Schebler right at him. And Robert Stevenson is through 4 unscathed thanks to a strike him out, throw him out.
For those of you who know, relief pitcher Drew Storen has been not pitching for the last couple of weeks. It was confirmed today that he will go under the knife and have to have Tommy John surgery. He's been bothered by a sore elbow, and he said it's gotten to a point where he simply cannot pitch anymore. He's been kind of gritting his teeth and trying to get through it. The good news, he says, is, look, I'm 30 years old. I'm still relatively young, and I'm a relief pitcher. He doesn't think it's going to take that long for him to get back, but it is a 12-month process, and the only problem, and Chris, you know all about this, he'll be a free agent after this season. So his season ends 58 games with a .445 earning, 4-2, 48 strikeouts, and again, pitching basically this last month on a bum elbow, trying to gut it out, and he'll go under the knife as soon as possible.
Votto first pitch swinging and foul ground. Luplow made the catch. Luplow's made a few nice plays here today.
Well, we certainly hope that Drew Storen ends up okay on that. He is a guy that really, when he came in here, was trying to hang on to maybe redefine himself as a pitcher. He went to a lot of different things to do that. He hesitating a little bit on the mound, finding different arm slots, just trying to survive in the major leagues. And maybe, you know, getting his arm fixed is going to maybe bring back some of the fastball that he had previously. And hey, 30 years old is not old for a relief pitcher, and if you've got some experience and a resume that Storen does, you've got a good chance. Once you prove to teams that you're healthy, you've got a chance of landing somewhere and rejuvenating your career.
Right of Brownsburg, Indiana, along with Tucker Barnhart. We wish him well. It'll be a tough 12 months for him. Scooter Gennett struck out his first time up. Popped up. Rodriguez. 2 outs. Well, yesterday we saw Sal Romano and Ivan Nova just mowing them down in a game which was scoreless into the 7th. And so far, we're having a repeat of a pitcher's duel. Two outs, Adam Duvall. Duvall, team leading 96 RBIs. Pretty friendly and a nice battle between him and Votto as far as RBIs go. Team lead. Votto just one behind him at 95. Splintered bat. Look at that. Just took one of the edges off. I say edges, obviously a round bat.
Oh, when you get the ball right on the end of the bat, like the Q-tip end, and you have a cupped bat, that's when the ball just kind of grabs that bat and pulls off a sliver. Back in the old days, you glue that back together, tap a little nails and a few nails in there, and you're ready to go. You remember those days?
I do.
Electrical tape. Because it's the only tape you can find in your dad's workshop or his toolbox.
It was at least still good for tennis ball, baseball, or something like that we used to play back in the day. Heck yeah. If it break down near the handle and you tape that bad boy up, you'd hold it right on the broken spot.
Exactly.
They were harder to come by back then. Three-two. Swing and a miss. 4 of them for Cole. No score at Great American. in less than a month, and we're on the countdown to face-off presented by Wendy's. Blue Jackets opening night is October 6th on Fox Sports Ohio and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Hello. It's a happy group right there. Got some eats going, got some sunshine, a little family time.
Great to see kids out at the ballpark.
Isn't it? Sean Rodriguez start off the 5th inning here for the Pirates. 7, 8, and 9 Pirates order. Stevenson continues to fool him on these breaking pitches. Pirates with 1 hit in this game. The Reds 1 hit. So after a tough one last time out, at least so far, it's for the Reds. Nice to see Robert Stevenson bounce back. Right center field. Schebler chasing it down for the first out here in the 5th. All right, now Belterra. It is round 1 of the Marty Brennaman Golf Classic. After the game, I'll be heading there. Be hosting a dinner program tonight. Comedy program and a special guest. They always have a special guest for Marty. And I am privy to know who that special guest is, but I cannot reveal it at this moment. There's been big names in the past that have been those special guests. One of the biggest Reds players history. Then another flight of golf tomorrow. All proceeds going to the Reds Community Fund. That's become a really, really big event. One of the biggest earners of the year, if not the biggest, for the Reds Community Fund.
Really been a fun event too. They get so many golfers out to play. They have a wonderful arrangements for the dinner, and then of course the accommodations at the night at Belterra. One of the better organized golf events you will ever find.
But no Welsh dream team, or should I say Brennaman dream team, Tom Brennaman. So Marty's stacked team has got a really good chance to win it this year.
Projected to win by 10.
10. I did not know that they had projections for that. Is that from Vegas or?
That's from the source.
The source? Marty laid the odds on his own tournament. Strike 3 call. 5 punch outs now for Stevenson.
Good looking pitch right there for Robert Stevenson. Nice little grouping. It looks like he's become maybe calmed down just a little bit more now that he's throwing a bunch of pitches in this ball game. Next one will be number 70.
I'll be taking those Chris Welsh golf tips to the course tomorrow, by the way.
Well, they're free and they're usually worth what you paid for them.
Let's hope. Because whatever group I'm in, they need me. The only hit for the Pirates today, that guy, pitcher. Butcher Boy double back in the 3rd. Cole wearing that protective helmet covering his jaw. I think you're going to see that a lot more in the future.
I think that, you know, almost the entire St. Louis Cardinal team uses that. A number of players here on the Pirates use it. Here comes the hook. No, the fastball.
Amir Garrett started using it, and I said, did you get hit before? He says, no. Why take the chance? Just wearing it to wear it. This new design, it certainly doesn't hamper you the way you see, like having to wear a face mask back in the day.
I thought it's interesting what the Reds are going to do with Amir Garrett. Rather than run him out there on a regular basis to start more games, they're going to have him work in the bullpen with the pitching coach, Mac Jenkins, of course, probably Ted Power as well, to try to work out some of the delivery kinks that he has. And he's got some work to do. I think that's a good move on the part of the Reds.
Swing and a miss. Back-to-back punch outs for Stevenson. He's thrown scoreless baseball through 5.
It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Let's check out our IGS bringing the energy, and you can say that both starting pitchers have been bringing it today. Stevenson through 5 innings of work, just 1 hit. He has walked 3 batters, but struck out 6, and Garrett Cole back on the mound for his 5th inning of work. Himself has only given up 1 hit, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. Pitchers duel on a hot Sunday afternoon here on Fox Sports Ohio. Garrett Cole, for so long, had a hard time beating the Reds till this year. 1-7 in his career and 11 starts. That 1 win was terrific. 7 scoreless innings that provided the home run and a 1-0 victory we talked about earlier.
Well, at the Great American Ballpark, his record isn't really any better. It's 1-3 against the Reds. His earned run average is a very tidy 3.5, so he's pitching some bad luck here. But things have just never really worked out for Cole when he's faced the Reds. Has not had a lot of run support and hasn't gotten any today. In fact, when he came into the ballgame today, Cole has been sitting on the worst earned run average of his career. And after having given up 5 runs in 3 of the last 5 games, that earned run average now up over 4, which is the territory that Cole was not used to seeing.
He's been really good against the Central Division this year, outside of the bat outing against the Reds. 14 starts against division opponents and a 2.57 ERA coming in. opponents, hitting just 195 in division play against Cole. He's also been a road warrior. 8-1 in his last 10 road starts. One pitch to Scott Schebler, nearly hit him. Out of play. Schebler doesn't have that mouthpiece working anymore. He's still got it. Where's it on the bottom? But he's got a new one now, and it's so tight he can't move it around. And as we reported earlier, his mom is very happy about this development. She did not like the look. This is swings and misses. Out number 1. Zach Vinci will take a second at bat of the game, and let's get to know him. It's today's AARP Getting to Know. And 2016 Fall League numbers opened some eyes with a .352 average, .425 on base percentage, and a nice slugging percentage. All three were in the top 3 for the season. And that slugging percentage was first, so a guy known for his glove turned it up in the Arizona Fall League. Saw him a lot in big league spring camp. Just a steady defensive player.
You know, and a player like Zach Vinci, if you find the right spot, you know, with the right team and a manager that wants to lean on you a little bit, you can etch yourself out a nice major league career. Just by being versatile, knowing what they have defensively when you put out there, move around position to position. Hit 270 down in Louisville earlier this year. Doesn't have a lot of power. Had 3 home runs, but drove in 38. I don't think that a player, excuse me, Jim, like Vinci will ever really be judged on, you know, his offensive potential. I mean, he could go out and have a great year offensively and probably not break into a starting lineup in the big leagues. But if he continues to play solid defense and play hard and do all those little things, that's where you can find a spot on a major league roster.
Been taking ground balls at second base, and in fact has appeared in a game at second base here since his call up. Played 3 games at second base at the AAA level, but 106 at shortstop. So he's trying to mix second base into his repertoire, being a little more versatile. Facing a 3-2 count, and drew a walk. One out base runner for Tucker Barnhart. For 1, lined out back in the 3rd. Looks at ball 1. One-0 pitch, breaking ball. 1-1. Ground ball slowly hit. They'll get the runner at first as Vinci moves on to second base. 2 outs.
Well, you still like the way Barnhart busted it down the line, though. I mean, it's an easy ground ball. There's a 99% chance he's going to be thrown out of first base. But, I mean, the first 50 or 60 feet running down the line, I mean, this guy's catching almost every day. Look at this effort.
I've never understood players that don't, unless you are injured. We've seen Scott Schebler. He'll bust it down the line every time. Pitcher versus pitcher. Stevenson now 1 for 19 as a hitter this season.
Here with a chance, though, with a runner on base, even with 2 outs, you got a chance to put that run across, put that one run that you need maybe to get a W. Choke up a little bit, punch it into right field, do whatever you need to do just to put contact of that bat on the ball. This is where you totally put out of your mind trying to hit the ball hard and just thinking about hitting the ball.
Vincey with a good lead at second base, no one holding him on.
Well, a good lead, but he better not try to go to third and get thrown out. Because that way you have the pitcher spot leading the inning off next inning, and you commit that sin of making your third out of third base.
Strike 3 call. Reds strand another. We're through 5. 0-0.
American Ballpark, just 1 hit apiece. It's time now for what we call Inside the Minds of some of these Reds players. And today we asked them, what famous person would you like to meet?
Eddie Vedder. I'd really like to meet Eddie Vedder. I talked to Bronson about him because they're pretty tight, and it'd be cool to sit down and talk to him and just listen.
Willie Nelson. That'd be kind of neat.
I'd like to meet Justin Timberlake. Yeah.
Does it all.
Yeah. That's you know, he's so good at multiple things, you know, so, you know, people like that are interesting.
And I know, Jim Day, that Tucker took your guy, and I know it was a coin flip. The head of the coin was, of course, Eddie Vedder. The tail side was Justin Bieber for you. Welsh, well, he's already met most of his dream guys out there with the Grateful Dead with his good friend Tim Flannery. So, I don't know, that's a great question.
You know, Welsh is a frequent visitor with the Stars over the years.
But
Ralph's in Malibu, right?
No bigger star than I'm sitting next to right now, and every day,
Joel Luckham?
Day.
No. Jim Strickler?
All of them.
Certainly not talking about me. Now, I'm not a believer, or what is they call Justin Bieber? Believer? Yeah, I'm not a believer. No. Although I am proud of myself, I got an answer from Homer Bailey followed by a smile. That was the upset of spring training. And not surprised by his answer, Willie Nelson. One-two count to John Jaso. He stays alive. Counts 2-2. Cannot get a more open stance than John Jaso has. His front leg hits the outside of the batter's box once he sets up.
Of course, he ends up closing back up with his front leg, and it becomes much more conventional. But just as a note, you could even start in the batter's box with that right foot out of the box. The line is part of the box, but you could even start with your foot out of the box, just so long as when you make contact, your feet are in the box.
Eighth pitch of the at bat on the way, and there'll be 9. Stevenson wants to go through the signs again. And of course, he's got to step off and rub up that baseball. See what he has to offer on another 3-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. 7th strikeout for Robert.
The Pirates have helped Stevenson a little bit here this afternoon by chasing a lot of 2-strike pitches that are out of the zone. But a lot of it has to do with the deception. When it comes out of your hand, it looks like a strike, so it goes from being a strike to being a ball. And Jaso goes down for the 2nd time in a row via the strikeout.
Now he'll do battle with Jordan Luplow. 0 for 1 and a walk. Final game between the Reds and Pirates this season. And the Reds have owned the season series. Hoping to cap it off with a 3-game sweep here. Reds 12-6 against the Pirates in 2017, including a 6-3 mark here at home. They got off to a big start too. They won 8 of the first 9 of the season series. Folding badly. 1-2 is the count.
You know, one of the things I think that is really helping Robert Stevenson with his deception is that, you know, he starts kind of very slow in his windup and then appears to jump at the hitter, and that gets the hitter going a little bit. And then when you can get that breaking pitch in there or take something off of it out of a jump move, then, you know, that can really help your deception. That and the fact that he generates a lot of arm speed. And the more arm speed, the better spin you're going to have on the ball. And of course, the better spin, the more it breaks.
Well, it is go time if you're Robert Stevenson. Highly touted, top pitching prospect for a long time in the Reds system. Hold him again. Back-to-back strikeouts. In fact, 4 straight overall for Stevenson.
Here's the motion, and we get a good look from right behind home plate. Kind of slow, and then boom. You know, he brings that glove up and then tucks it in tight, and that arm comes right behind it. That's a high fastball that he gets for strikeout number 8. Stevenson is one of 5 right-handed high school pitchers that the Reds have drafted since 1995. Of course, the most recent one they drafted was last year this year when they took Hunter Green, number 2 in the draft. Stevenson taken in 2011, 27th pick overall. That list also includes Dustin Mosley, Nick Travieso, who came in 2012, and of course going back to 2004 when the 7th pick of the draft was Homer Bailey.
One pitch to Andrew McCutchen.
I guess the reason I bring that up because you don't see that many high school right-handed pitchers drafted in the first round. So when you do, you know, it's almost a guarantee that that guy is an extremely hard thrower, like Hunter Green is, and like Robert Stevenson was coming out of high school. He was up around 100 miles an hour.
Ground ball to Suarez. 1-2-3 inning for Stevenson. Experience in Goodyear, Arizona, sponsored by the Reds Community Fund. 2 lucky winners will enjoy breakfast with the team and VIP treatment, plus airfare, hotel accommodations, and more. Raffle tickets are $100, but all the proceeds go to the Reds Community Fund. So you're helping out a great cause, and you've got a chance for what is going to be a terrific experience. Call 513-765-7700 or email raffle@reds.com to purchase today. Oh, little snow cone action, little popcorn.
Popcorn and Blue Lips. What a great combination.
Oh, it doesn't matter. He'll be wearing half that popcorn. Blue Lips. In fact, there'll be a blue face here in a minute. All over the place, but looking good. Not a care in the world. Sitting there watching big league baseball. 1 for 2 is Jesse Winker, and it represents the only hit the Reds have gotten off of Garrett Cole so far. Winker's average sitting at 280. Seventh inning yesterday, scoreless game. Boom. And he has hit for more power here at the major league level than he certainly did in the minors. He has 6 home runs and 105 plate appearances in the bigs, 106 now. And had just 5 total home runs and 795 plate appearances in AAA over the last 2 years. It's always been a question that's followed him. Wrist injury has been a part of that, but he's healthy as he draws a walk and plays on a regular basis, particularly in this ballpark. You got to think he'll put up more power numbers than he has in the minors, and he's done that so far. At least the Reds are hoping.
Well, the question is, where will he play? And I think the Reds are considering that. They're getting a really good look and an opportunity to see Winker on nearly an everyday basis here, with Billy Hamilton out of the lineup and moving Schebler to center field.
Suarez fouls off the first pitch.
You know, Jim, when I went through that list of first-round draft picks who were right-handed high schoolers that the Reds have taken since 1995, I really only gave you those that made the major leagues. There were 3 others that did not make the major leagues, and they were taken kind of down on the draft, except for Chris Grueller. He was the number 3 overall in 2002. Didn't work out. Injury sidelined him. Matt McClendon and Kyle Lotzkar were the others.
Well, you're certainly rolling the dice much more than a college pitcher, and it obviously takes you longer to get there as well.
Well, the consensus, though, I mean, if you're talking about the most recent draft and Hunter Green, the consensus among scouts was that this guy is just such a special player and a special person. And that was really what you heard a lot, that word special, when the Reds decided to draft Hunter Green, taken number 2 in the draft, 2nd in the country.
Now, you asked him slider or curveball, and he said both.
I didn't know what a slider was when I was 18.
Right. Left center field. Hit well. And goodbye. 2-run home run, Eugenio Suarez. And the Reds have a 2-0 lead. Number 26 for Eugenio.
Well, he hit a line drive his last time up, and he jumps all over this pitch. A little change up, and look at the reaction by Garrett Cole. He knows immediately this ballpark is not going to hold that one.
As you said, knew it right away. And the walk comes back to haunt Cole as well. 2-run job and a 2-0 lead. Mighty impressive has been Suarez. Growth, plate, in the field. Now 81 RBIs on the season for the guy they call Gino. Votto draws his 2nd walk of the game.
I wonder if Garrett Cole has just suddenly hit the wall. I mean, he walks the leadoff hitter Jesse Winker. Gives up a home run to Suarez. Now walks Votto. This is his 31st start of the year, and I'm just wondering if maybe he's just plumb out of gas. Ray Searage going to come on out and talk to him and find out. He certainly doesn't have great body language, and he's probably thinking, here I go again against the Reds. 1-7 coming into this game. I never seem to get any breaks. They don't seem to score any runs for me here at Great American Ballpark. And it's like deja vu all over again.
It's the 4th walk given up by Cole. Now 125 walks on the season for Votto. Far and away the leader in the National League. It's Daniel Hudson, the righty, starts to crank it up in the Pirates pen. Not only the Pirates not scored for Cole here at Great American, but combined over his last 4 starts coming in, Pirates had scored only 6 runs for him in those 4 starts. Now Jeanette makes it a first pitch ball. Two and 0. Pulled the string. Cole was pitching very efficiently. Now that pitch count up to 86.
Now Scooter being really aggressive on a 2-0 count right there, betting he's getting a low fastball.
Two 2-1. Long drive. Right field. Home run. Second home run of the inning. 25th for Jeanette, and a 4-0 Reds lead.
Well, I sure like this pattern. Walk, home run, walk, home run. So does Scooter. 97 is what he turns around right here, but it's inner third, thigh high, and give him those all day long. You know, when I talk about Garrett Cole getting tired, I didn't mean physically. You're still throwing the ball 97. You're just mentally tired. You're mentally beat out there. And you can just kind of see it after that walk of Jesse Winker. And now you see it in the walk of Clint Hurdle.
And he is called to the bullpen. Daniel Hudson will come on. A 4-run 6th inning so far for the Reds. It's our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. home run means Reds now have 5 players with 25 or more home runs each. And you've got to go back to 1956, the last time that happened in Reds history. And longtime Reds fans will remember these names: the great Frank Robinson, Wally Post, Big Clue, Bell, and Bailey. 1956, boy, could they mash. And now the 2017 Reds have matched them.
Pretty impressive, really, for this Reds ball club overall. The kind of contributions they've gotten from Jeanette, Cozart this year, you know, a big improvement in Eugenio Suarez. But really, the good news, bad news for a ball club that is in the Reds position, when you have that many players having terrific years, you're still looking at a 90-loss year. But yet your salary, every time somebody hits a home run, that arbitration number goes up a little bit. And they are going to pay more and more for their players going forward. And they can just hope that their pitching can accelerate the progress so that the pitching can finally catch up with the offense and put a winner on the field.
Daniel Hudson is the new pitcher for the Pirates as Cole goes 5+. And you know it's a tough day when you give up only 3 hits but 4 runs. As Duvall goes down swinging. But 4 walks for Cole. 2 of them came back to haunt in this inning. 6 strikeouts. First out of the inning, and now Scott Schebler. We talked about the, or at least I talked about last time up, Schebler with the mouthpiece not hanging out of his mouth. He said he had a lot of still photographers that would come up to him and say, "Thank you. I can finally get a good picture of you. Every picture we ever took of you was with that mouthpiece dangling out of your mouth." Scott, of course, said, "Well, send me some of those pictures if they're so good." Fouls it back just under the boot. I've yet to have a foul ball hit in the booth when I'm calling the game.
It's rare up here.
But you are mighty aggressive at going after him, right? Or do you get out of the way now?
Well, when we do have the rare opportunity, I'm still going after him.
The other guy ducks, right?
The other guy. Well, it depends on who the other guy is.
I'm talking about Tom.
Yeah. Both Reds announcers whose last names begin with B are diving out of the way.
Check swing. And yes, says home plate umpire Tom Woodring, and rings him up. You be the judge. Oh, yeah.
Well, Woodring is going to make the call. I think a lot of players get upset, though, batters do, when the home plate umpire makes the call. They at least want a second opinion.
Yeah.
And to go down to third base, I can pretty much guess to tell you what Joe West would have said right there. But he was waiting.
What would Joe West have said?
Ring him up. He was singing Country Joe West last night at Bobby Mackey's.
We were wondering, speculating if Cowboy was going to be singing.
I went down before the ball game to talk to him. I thought there was an unusual circumstance in yesterday's game. It really never came up, and we didn't talk about it. But when Ivan Nova was injured and left the game, Neverotis came in, started to come in, and then he made a U-turn and go back to the bullpen.
Right.
And I said to him, well, wasn't he officially in the game? Because then Clint Hurdle went to a left-hander, and because of the injury, he had a lot of time to warm up. But Neverotis eventually came into the game the next inning. And he said, no, that pitcher actually came in on his own. Clint Hurdle never wanted him in, so we didn't actually signal him into the game, even though the PA announcer, you know, for the benefit of the fans, announced him as the new pitcher.
Right.
Just trying to take care of some details.
You're a detailed guy. And our resident rules expert.
Well, you got to go to the source is one thing I've learned about that. I had a scout come up and ask me about that today, and I really didn't know the answer. So I learned one thing today anyway.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Zach Vinci. Reds have put a 4 spot on the board here in the 6th. Open for a 3-game sweep of these Pirates. It'll also be their 7th straight victory at home. Do the 1-2 again. 2-2. Count will stay at 2-2. Daniel Hudson, 30 years of age, born in Lynchburg, Virginia. Drafted back in 2008 in the 5th round.
Well, that's just part of the story on Hudson. He has had not 1 but 2 Tommy John surgeries.
Long at bat, and it hits Zach Vinci. And these two teams notorious. Ouch. Got him right on the knee. The 115th hit by pitch between the Reds and Pirates since the start of 2013. Most in Major League Baseball. 115 between them. Next closest is 98. Texas and Seattle. The inning continues for Tucker Barnhart. Called strike, 1-1. 97-mile-per-hour heater. Robert Stevenson in the on-deck circle, although the Reds do have action in the pen. Deck McGuire, the righty. Fair ball down the right field line. Vinci's on his way to third. Billy Hatcher's going to wave him around as the ball rattles around there. John Jaso has trouble coming up with it. And Barnhart in with an RBI triple.
It's always an exciting play, but you don't see it happen too often with your catcher at the plate. He gets a pitch inside and rips it right inside the first base bag. Boy, even though you see the first baseman Bell playing close right there, holding the runner on, or at least expecting that ball down that line. And standing up all the way into third base. Mincy scores from first, and Tucker goes all the way into third.
Second triple of the season for Tucker. RBI number 42, and now a pinch hitter in Jose Peraza. So indeed, Robert Stephenson's day is done. First pitch swinging, ground out for Peraza, but the Reds major damage. 5 runs in the inning and a 5-0 lead. Keeping the Pirates off balance early on, effectively wild, then settled in for 6 innings, just 1 hit, no runs, 3 walks, and 8 strikeouts on the day. And finally, in the bottom of the 6th, got some run support. Started by Eugenio Suarez. Winker had walked ahead of him. 2-run home run, followed by a Votto walk and a 2-run home run off the bat of Scooter Gennett. Barnhart would add an RBI triple and a 5-0 Reds advantage. So we head to the 7th inning and a new pitcher on the hill for Cincinnati, and it's right-hander Deck McGuire, yet another guy who recently made his major league debut.
Well, he did. McGuire's 28 years old, and he's been around a little bit to be able to finally make his way to the Reds. Drafted by the Blue Jays, first-round pick in 2010. And his contract was purchased by the Oakland A's. He got released by the A's, picked up by the Dodgers, released by them, picked up by the Cardinals, where he pitched in their organization last year, and against whom, of course, he made his major league debut, and now this year signed in February a free agent contract minor league deal with the Reds.
Entered in that 7th inning in St. Louis with the bases loaded and 1 out. Got Harrison Bader to ground into a double play. Facing Josh Bell here to lead off the 7th for the Pirates. Just caught the outside corner and a count of 1-1. After he got Bader to ground into a double play through a scoreless 8th in his major league debut. You just never know. One of those guys that refused to give up the dream. He was the old man at Double-A this year. Served into left field. That'll fall in front of Duvall. So a leadoff base hit by Josh Bell.
Well, what's nothing old or about the men that have pitched for the Reds recently. I mean, if you really are looking for young pitching and young quality pitching stepping up and getting the job done, You know, 21 of the 31 last Reds games that have been played have been started by pitchers who are under the age of 25, including Robert Stevenson today. And over that period of time, those 21 starts, we're looking at a 2.3 earned run average. I mean, that really bodes well for the future.
Yeah.
Stevenson, another shutout performance today, 6 innings worth. Yesterday, 8 innings shutout by Romano. Against St. Louis when Tyler Mahle last took the ball.
Those three all sitting together.
Shutout. There they all are. So really something to build on, and something that ought to make Reds general manager Dick Williams very happy, along with Brian Price, looking into 2018.
And he didn't even talk about Luis Castillo right there.
That's right.
Might be the best of the bunch.
He's already been shut down. So.
Yep. Well, talking about that 2018 rotation, if Homer Bailey is healthy, he's obviously in there. The only other pitcher that Brian Price has said, if I'm making the decision, Luis Castillo is in my rotation.
So that is a little surprising, because all year long we've been hearing about Anthony DeSclafani and when he would get healthy and come back. But I think that he's been put into a position, because of the accelerated progress of the young pitchers, that he's going to have to earn a spot.
Right. Well, you got to prove you're healthy too.
I mean, you know, he's only got 32 major league starts under his belt. DeSclafani does. So it's not like you're looking at a guy with the long pedigree of, say, Homer Bailey. And he doesn't have a huge contract attached to him either. So he's got some work to do.
Well, if DeSclafani is healthy, he'll be certainly one of the leading candidates to earn one of those rotation spots, along with Romano, Mahle, Stevenson. You're going to have Brandon Finnegan coming back from injury. We'll see what he can do.
And it's probably too early to write off Amir Garrett and Cody Reed.
Correct. There's going to be a lot of guys vying for positions,
and I imagine that at some point the Reds are going to say, all right, you know, if he doesn't make the starting rotation, maybe we can use him in the bullpen. Maybe his stuff translates where we can use him and not have to go out and spend money or try to make a trade to bring in some guys that can pitch in relief.
There were many years around here in the mid-2000s where you're like, all right, who the heck is going to be the 4th and 5th starters? And there wasn't a big group of guys to choose from.
No.
At least it's a large number of young, talented arms to choose from.
Well, things are bad in my mind when the front office always says our best prospects are in A-ball.
Yeah.
Well, that means they're a long way away. But now your prospects are pitching in the major leagues.
Yeah. Back-to-back strikeouts looking for Deck McGuire.
Well, he takes care of a right-handed hitting David Freese, and now Jordy Mercer back-to-back on a nice low fastball here at the knees. One more to get.
We didn't even mention Jackson Stevens and Rookie Davis, whom are going to finish out September here. Jackson Stevens will pitch on Tuesday against the Cardinals. Rookie Davis on Wednesday against St. Louis. Two other names to add to the mix. It's going to be very interesting in Goodyear, Arizona spring training. High into the air into left field off the bat of Sean Rodriguez. So a leadoff single against Deck McGuire, but tires the next 3. And as we always do on Sunday afternoon in Major League Baseball, we'll keep it right here for the singing of God Bless America.
Your hats and face the American flag. Major League Baseball, the Reds and the Pirates salute the men and women of our armed forces, as well as those who serve to protect in our local police and fire departments. At this time, please help us honor these brave men and women and all our veterans of service, and welcome Clara Wilson as she leads us in the singing of God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I through the night with a light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans wide with foam. God bless America, my home sweet home. God bless America, my home sweet home.
To the gates to receive a Tucker Barnhart bobblehead thanks to Cincinnati Bell. Plus, don't miss the last fireworks show of the season. All the action for as low as $12. You can visit Reds.com. Be a big weekend. Final home series of the season. And we'll be kicking it with Bronson on that day as well after the game. So we hope to see you here at the yard. New pitcher on the hill. What a baseball name this is, lefty Jack Leathersich.
Well, he was originally drafted by the New York Mets at the University of Massachusetts. Don't see a lot of baseball players come out of UMass. 5th round pick in 2011. And when the Mets had him for a while, he eventually made his way to the Chicago Cubs when they selected him off the waivers. And the Pirates just got him off the waiver wire from the Cubs just a couple of weeks ago. He had really good numbers down in the minor leagues for the Cubs. A lot of strikeouts, all out of the bullpen.
Facing the top of the order, I'm sorry, Chris, and Jesse Winker.
Pitched one game for the Cubs this year before being put on waivers, and that's when the Pirates got him.
Strikes out Winker to start the 7th.
Just based on the quick look at his minor league numbers and where he is as far as his age, could be a very interesting pickup.
Two-run home run in the 6th. Suarez broke a scoreless tie. Part of that 5-run inning.
And the reason I say that about Leathersich is that in 44 innings for the AAA team for the Cubs this year, he struck out 72 batters. It's a lot of punch outs.
Plus, he's a member of the Left-Handed Pitchers Association. I know you dig that.
Well, I think every team ought to have at least 2 left-handers in their bullpen, if not 3.
I agree with you.
I mean, there are a lot of teams now that are carrying 8 relievers.
Saw Luke Farrell warming up in the Reds bullpen. And Suarez draws a 1-out walk. Stick around after the game. We'll put a capper on this one. It's Reds Live, the post-game show. It's brought to you by Performance King Son. To hear from the manager before anyone else. Expanded Reds highlights and more coming up right after the game. It's the 5th walk offered up by Pirates pitching today. High into the air. Votto into center field. McCutchen waits on it. Gloves it for out number 2. So Joey hitless on this day. He has drawn 2 walks. And now Scuda. Himself last time up delivered a 2-run home run. They picked up this guy off of waivers late in spring training. I'm not sure they envisioned 25 home runs, 88 RBIs on September 17th.
Well, I'm sure that the Milwaukee Brewers did not see that coming.
No. Brewers leading the Marlins 1-0 in the 4th. Cubs 1-0 ahead of the Cardinals also in the 4th. That would be a 3-game sweep of the Cardinals by the Cubs, and that would be large. Again, coming in, the Cubs have stretched the lead in the National League Central. 4 games over the Brewers and 5 over the Cardinals. Quintana on the hill for the Cubs. Matthew Boyd of the Tigers, no hitter through 7 innings versus the White Sox. So we'll keep our eye on that. Scooter looks at strike 3. 8th inning, here we come. 5-0 Reds.
On Fox Sports Ohio, it's what we call Reds Live, the pregame show. It's brought to you by Ray St. Clair Roofing. First look at the lineups, features, interviews, Tom's tidbits, and more. Check us out. And the Cardinals will come a-calling after an off day tomorrow. Tuesday, Jack Flaherty. We just saw him in St. Louis. He'll face Jackson Stevens as the Reds have inserted Stevens and Rookie Davis into the rotation. Rookie will get Luke Weaver on Wednesday, and then Thursday, Carlos Martinez versus Homer Bailey. Hope to see you out here at Great American Ballpark. If not, we got you covered here on Fox Sports Ohio. There's Jackson Stevens. And a new pitcher on the hill for the Reds. It's right-hander Luke Farrell.
Yeah, Luke Farrell comes in for the 4th time since wearing a Reds uniform. He had been in one major league game prior to this year. That was one game with the Kansas City Royals. But here with the Reds so far, over 5 innings, he has been splendid. Has not allowed a run, only a couple of hits, struck out 4. Right-hander is the son of Boston Red Sox manager John Farrell. And he'll be seeing his dad later this week. Which ought to
That
really,
will be something right there.
It really gives an opportunity for some great television. Camera trained on Dad and a camera trained on Luke.
That will be awesome to see. And you add to Luke Farrell's story and the fact that his dad was leading the way in treatment that he had to receive. You'll pardon Luke Farrell if the pressure on a major league mound is nothing compared to what he faced in his life. He has defeated cancer not once but twice. As an 18-year-old in college, was diagnosed with throat cancer. First surgery didn't work, had to go back in. Told his mom, give me hand signals when I wake up if I can't talk, not knowing if he would even make it through. They were able to take care of that cancer, and afterwards told him there's very, very little chance in the next 100 years that this cancer would come back. But unfortunately, as fate would have it, 2 years later it came back, and came back full. Again, surgery to remove it, and he's got a really big scar on his neck to show for all this. They removed the cancer. He couldn't talk for several weeks, but is proud to say now he is cancer free. And his dad, they had to huddle together after that first surgery didn't work and had to figure out the best care he could get in this country. And they rallied together and got it done. This is a pinch hitter in Christopher Bostic.
Well, the Red Sox, though, are still in the race. They're 3 games up on the Yankees right now. But they're heating up very much so. The Red Sox are. So are the Yankees. But these games that they will be playing against the Reds will have some meaning. And just the irony, the potential for the irony of Luke Farrell pitching against the Red Sox, having somewhat of a say in whether the Red Sox make the postseason or not.
Boy, I hope it happens.
Very interesting stuff.
Hope he gets the chance to pitch. You know, managers have a flair for, as Dusty Baker used to say, and this is Dusty Baker's words, not mine, but I'm playing him because I want to play him in front of his homies. Meaning wants to play this guy in front of his hometown fans, etc.
Sure.
Brian Price will know. Give Luke Farrell a chance against the Red Sox. He'll know the specialness of that story. Two-two pitch, off speed, appeal, no, says Andy Fletcher. You look at the schedule the rest of the way for the Reds, and every team is in it.
Cardinals, Red Sox, Brewers, Cubs. They can have a say at least. Three balls and 2 strikes to Christopher Bostic. 1 out. And he walked him. For our Reds fans in Columbus, break down yesterday's Ohio State win over Army with Rick Pizzo and former All-American James Laurinaitis on Buckeye Weekly tomorrow night at 7 on our sister network Sports Time Ohio, or you can stream it on Fox Sports Go. James Laurinaitis. Little animal. His dad, one half the very famous wrestling tag team, the Road Warriors. Dad's animal. Fans wanting the 11th strikeout of the afternoon by a Reds pitcher, which would mean Frieza. That would be pizza. And Luke Farrell 1 strike away from that against John Jaso. There they are. Kroger K-zone. 1-2 pitch. Long drive. Right field. The Pirates are on the board. Number 10 for Jaso. And it's a 5-2 game.
Well, Jason's got 10 of them, and this one makes it a ball game. 3 runs now separate these 2 teams after this 2-run shot goes into the sun deck. That looked like the identical spot that Scooter Gennett got one and drove out of here in the 6th inning.
Still only 1 out in the inning, and now he'll face the heart of the order, will Luke Farrell. Loop low, followed by McCutchen. Right center field. Schebler over to get it. 2 outs. Matthew Boyd's no-hitter now through 8 innings. He's thrown 105 pitches. Now with 2 outs, Andrew McCutchen. 0 for 3 so far today. A 1 pitch. This is outside. 1-1. Ground ball. Vincey. The Pirates get 2. 2-run home run John Jaso, and it's a 3-run game at GABP. Stop by your neighborhood Kroger to save big store-wide. Great food, low prices at Kroger. By Cincinnati USA Regional Tourism Network. Stay close to CincinnatiUSA.com. And by Toyota. For over 30 offers, visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. We invite you to get inside the golf zone with Jimmy Hanlon, presented by Varmint Guard, with highlights from the BMW Championship plus helpful tips to bring down your scores. The golf zone tees off at 8 o'clock tonight on Fox Sports Ohio, streaming on Fox Sports Go. Adam Duvall will lead off the 8th for Cincinnati. He'll face a new pitcher in Johnny Barbado. Right-hander. (5-2) Reds lead here. Reds trying to close out a 3-game sweep of these Pirates. Duvall looking for his first hit of the afternoon. Counts 1-2.
Barbado originally drafted by the Padres, 2010 6th round. The Padres traded him to the Yankees about 4 years later, and then earlier this year in April, the Yankees traded him to the Pirates.
Down goes Duvall.
Teams are constantly trying to upgrade their roster, their 40-man roster all the time, and they use whatever they can. They've got scouts out there, obviously. The Pirates are one of those that are very active. The Reds have been very active too. In fact, just today they claimed a player off waivers from the Chicago White Sox, DJ Peterson, a third baseman, first baseman, right-handed hitting 25-year-old. He will not report to the big league team, but he's on the 40-man roster.
Barbado was recalled last Sunday. Made his last appearance with the Pirates back on the 25th of August and tossed a scoreless inning against these Reds. Hard hit ball. In short right field, though, is Sean Rodriguez in the shift. 2 outs.
Quick 2 outs here in the 8th for Barbado. And now Zach Vinci. Still seeking that elusive first big league hit. He did score back in the 6th after he was hit by a pitch. And scored on Tucker Barnhart's RBI triple. One pitch. 1-1. It would be 7 straight home victories for the Reds should they get it this afternoon. Just joining us, Robert Stevenson with 6 innings, just 1 hit, scoreless baseball. Garrett Cole 5+, 3 hits, ended up giving up 4 runs. So Michael Lorenzen heats it up in the Reds pen. Cole walked 4 batters, struck out 6. 2 of those walks came back to haunt as he gave up 2 2-run home runs in the 6th inning. Suarez and Jeanette. Easy 8th inning for Barbado. Final chance for the Pirates. When they take on the Red Sox. Coming up next weekend, Friday through Sunday, it's presented by Reese's. For $12 you can get here. For tickets, visit Reds.com. A 5-2 game as we head to the 9th, and Michael Lorenzen, the righty, on for the Reds, and he will face 4, 5, and 6 in this Pirates lineup.
64 games for Lorenzen, covering 77 innings. That's about the top end of what you're looking at for a reliever, you know, throughout the entire season. Leaned on a lot, Lorenzen has been. And overall a pretty solid year, although he's had some bumps where he's had games where he's given up a lot of runs, and that inflates that earned run average. He would like to be part of the mix in that starting rotation audition for next year in spring training.
Yeah, there's another name. Brian Price has certainly not ruled that out. He said they'll give him a shot. Now that's what they're saying now. We'll see come February when they gather in Goodyear, Arizona, but been a starter before. This one lifted into left field.
Well, you described that perfectly, because that's what it seems to me Josh Bell is trying to do every time up, is lift the baseball. You know, we've heard a lot about players this year trying to get the ball into the air, and they're trying to increase their launch angle. But Bell is the poster child, as far as I'm concerned, of a guy that, you know, even the casual fan can watch his swing and say, he's just trying to hit the ball in the air and hit home runs.
David Freese with one out. Ground ball, Vincey charging it. Pirates down to their last out. And the batter will be Jordy Mercer. This is outside, 0-1. 1-0, excuse me. For 9 in his career off of Lorenzen. Mercer ahead, 2 balls, no strikes. In the air, center field. Shepler's got it, and get out the brooms. It's a 3-game sweep of the Pirates. 7th straight home win for the Reds. 5-2 is your final as Robert Stevenson pitches 6 shutout innings. It's the longest streak since May 2011. The Reds won 7 straight. Suarez a 2-run home run. Jeanette a 2-run home run. Barnhart the other RBI on a winning day for the Reds. And we'll be back with more after this.